And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. It is Tuesday morning. We are looking forward to our special guest this morning. Turn that around where you don't see that. We'll have the sheriff coming in. Ward Calhoun joins us at 7 o'clock for the local show. I hope you'll be back for that. Odie and I were just a tad late there. We were discussing the hurricane. We're going to look at that in just a moment. This is a very, very serious storm. Tampa, the mayor, saying if you do not leave, expect to lose your life. Now, those serious words, and here is the what I'm looking at, what we were staring at before we went live. As of this moment, it's a Category 4. It has wind speed of 155 miles an hour, gust of 190. The millibars at 924. Now, in just a little while, by 1 o'clock this afternoon, it will regain strength to 161 and 196 mile an hour gust and make it a Cat 5. Now, this is going to go back and forth before it makes actual landfall between a 4 to a 5. We're still expecting it to be a strong 4 coming ashore, and then immediately after it makes landfall dropping to a 3. So it's going to be somewhere between 144 miles an hour and somewhere around 130 right after it makes landfall. Now, if you will notice this, after it goes through, it is still a Category 1 on the opposite side. So the entire swath, as it goes across Florida, will be a full-strength hurricane. Serious stuff. This is going to go from Fort Myers all the way up to Ocala, Cedar Key, these areas there. And if you'll look at all of these, this is showing us a strong, anywhere here from St. Petersburg, Palm Harbor, these areas here, Tampa, could still be in the eye of it. It's right around there. We're going to watch this closely and keep you posted with this as this storm nears. And again, if you've got friends, family that live in Florida, urge them to leave. If we've seen anything and learned anything from North Carolina, as it's been some few years since it came through our area, they're bad. And this is a huge loss of life expected. Get out while you can. Material things I know are hard to come by, but your life is worth so much more than that. Take care of your friends and family. Invite them to come down and stay a little while with you as this passes. Again, we're expecting this late Wednesday night into the early morning hours, just after midnight, coming ashore. Somewhere along in there, it'll be redefined as it goes up and slows down. All of that is calculated into that, and we will let you know. Nancy, good morning. Good to see you. Kathy is joining us. Diane, Dorothy, many of you. We'll have some national headlines in a moment to go over. We'll also have locals coming up at 7 and the weather forecast right around the corner. Let's go back for some experience as we go out to Collinsville First Baptist. That's what Brother Paul has to say this morning.
As I grow older, I realize that every season of life has its own joys and challenges. Reflection is a gift that God gives us in order that we might look back on our lives, hopefully without a lot of regrets, and see how God has brought us through challenging times and how He has brought us joy in our lives just through blessing. Proverbs 20:29 says, "The glory of young men is their strength, gray hair the splendor of the old." As I reflect, I can see how in my younger years, God gave me strength to do the things I needed to do as a young man. Strength to work, provide, help others, play sports, all kinds of things that require physical strength. I wasn't the strongest man anybody ever saw, but I could do a lot more then than I can do now. Now life has changed. I still need physical strength to do things. Sometimes I try to do more than I should, and I pay for it later. But now God provides what I need to do and help in a different way. Through life experiences, God now gives me opportunity to share what life has taught me and what that might mean for someone else. I guess that's what this gray hair is all about. In every season of life, God gives us what we need to do what He would have us do and experience the joys that come with it. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. Hopefully that touches you. We do that every day around 6:30. Make sure to join us again tomorrow. We'll have another message for you. They'll have church coming up tomorrow night, Collinsville First Baptist Church. As I start this, and let me just, I don't know if you could say that I'm opening a can of worms, but, well, it's true. How many of you are tired of being lied to from politicians. They're really good at it and deflect when they're questioned on things. This is because I know this is going to affect, there's a lot of people that with hope go for this. Anybody bought a lottery ticket in the last year? You know where I'm going with this? Roughly now, $2 gets you a lottery ticket. Come next year, that's not going to be the case. It will be $5. That's more than double the cost at this point. Now, why'd I say politicians? Well, they always say we're going to use that money for education to take care of our kids. Next thing you know, that money is being used for something else, and they dabble here. And who remembers the tobacco money from Mississippi? Yeah, it all got used, didn't it? And it was supposed to be for education, if I remember right. And it always gets drained for somebody else's fun. I just don't understand why people can't keep their word of what they do. Who is this going to hurt? Let's face it, it's going to hurt the poor. Because it's a chance that just maybe you could get ahead in life for a moment by winning something. It's a dream. We all know that. There's not a person that hadn't bought a ticket that goes, wow, what would I do if I won it? Costs going up. Again, doubling. Is that right? I don't know what's driving it. I hadn't got into all the details. But I do know that G word, greed. They've got to have an excuse of why they're doing it. But again, who's it going to hurt? It's going to hurt the poor in our communities who can't afford it now, but gamble for a better life. Y'all know that as well as I'm sitting here. That's what's coming. More than double. You would have thought that maybe a dollar increment at the time, but no, let's go ahead and do it like bread and gasoline. Next thing you know, we'll be giving that money to another country. The USA of government does it, don't they? As we look at other headlines this morning, as we look to Memphis, Tennessee, do you remember the 3 police officers that were arrested in the death of Tyree Nichols? 2 got out on bond. A 3rd will have to sit in jail until January when his hearing comes about. Memphis is where all that went on. We had a helicopter crash yesterday. It would happen in Kentucky. It was a medical helicopter that went down. I believe all 3 members in the helicopter are deceased at this point. Prayers for their family. That's got to be horrible as that happened. Georgia, and there will be some people who get angry about this story. Some will be glad. We only know how the good Lord up above thinks on these subjects. Georgia's Supreme Court has reinstated the 6-week abortion ban after reversing a lower court ruling that allowed it. So it's going back into effect. Again, the 6-week abortion ban. That's what's happening in Georgia this morning. We see that and be careful with this. I understand that it's fun and athletic to get out and do things, but this summer I should have kept a tally of how many people lost their lives trying to, go enjoy the mountains, hiking, climbing. It's happened again, this time in Utah. Is where it happens. A 40-year-old guy fell 200 feet to his death. Rock climbing. That is not the first this summer. There's been several people that lost their lives that way. I'm sure that if you're into that it's fun. Know what you're doing. Slipped, fell 200 feet. There's no coming back from that. U.S. Marshals have arrested a guy that eluded police for 5 months. He was wanted on a murder charge. U.S. Marshals finally moved in and got the guy. This was in Cleveland, Ohio, where that happened. Always good to see the good guys win and catch somebody that has been bad. They got him. Hopefully he'll face his crimes now of what he done. I understand this. It's 13 counties that are going to be affected by this as we look at the headlines of North Carolina this morning. This is the worst of the worst that were hit by the hurricane. They're going to have some changes to the election. They're giving them some flexibility with the presidential election that is up and coming due to the fact that a lot of the voting precincts are now being used as shelters, and there's just no way to hold elections there. They've been given the authority to make extra voting polling places to where people could go vote. As we look at some of these notes on this, voters can cast ballots by mail, be able to request and receive them through November the 4th. so long as everything is counted and received by 7:30 on Election Day. So a little flexibility there. They have had a very hard time. And I would expect the same. Y'all know this is coming in Florida as we await what's happening late Wednesday night, Thursday. It's going to be a total chaos in Florida. Tampa, these huge areas are going to be destroyed, and it won't be places to vote like we normally know. That's coming. Expect it. Officials, and truthfully, as I read some of the comments and things that are coming out of North Carolina, you sometimes have trouble deciphering is this true or not. We've heard a lot about FEMA. We do know that there's misinformation out there. I don't know how far deep it goes, and there's some folks that, well, are telling the truth that are probably being, urged not to speak. Public officials are mounting a rally against disinformation. Again, I agree that there is some coming out of it. It's totally not true, but we definitely don't want the truth to be held back. Platforms give the unique ability for the average man to get the honest truth out. I saw somewhere last week where Hillary was warning them to clamp down on social media and how you could speak freely. This sort of goes hand in hand with that to a degree, does it not? Be cautious. And again, we all know that there's misinformation. As you see, each and time there's a wreck somewhere, there's somebody putting up a link. I've got the whole thing on video, and it's a trap. We know that there's misinformation in this world, but there's also the truth that needs to get out from the common man. Let's do not step on our amendments. Let's hope so. Whoa, this might scare you there. When's the last time you sat down with somebody at lunch and they go, no, I don't want sugar. Hand me some of that yellow stuff and let me sprinkle that in there. It's better for me. They're saying, hold on to your hat. Maybe that's not true. It could be worse than sugar for you.
I've been saying that for years.
Good thing I keep sugar in mine. And again, I know there's a lot of you who'd like to drink your tea that's unsweet. I just can't handle it. I ain't man enough for that. I have to have ultra sweet tea. I believe in it daily. There's nothing worse, and I don't think there's a Southerner alive watching right now that can't tell you when you turn up that glass of tea and you're expecting it to be sweet and it's bitter, that face you make. It's a frown that, well, no one will forget, will they? There's a lot going on. And I meant to mention this yesterday, and my apologies for this. We had so much information coming in yesterday from what went on over the weekend. October 7th marked 1 year. Can you believe it's been a year that Israel was attacked? Wow. It has been that long since they were enjoying a normal day and they were attacked. Donald has stepped forward and made promises. If elected, and it is getting a lot of cheer from this. He promised that he would not allow Israel to be threatened with destruction, nor stand by if another Holocaust took place. He also said that he would not allow jihad on America, and he will support Israel's right to win its war on terror. Has anybody else said that? And whether you agree with me or disagree, there's a little book that talks about these things of those that support Israel. Keep that in mind. I'm not telling you how to vote or what you should do, just a reminder of a little book that I know of. It tells the whole story, and if you want to know more, pick it up and read it sometime. We know the ending of it, but there's pages in between that have to be done. Trump's stock went up yesterday in his media after that big rally where he went back, where he was shot at. It jumped by 15%. Now, and again, we touched on this a little bit ago, and before we go into weather, I want to touch back on this. This is supposed to be the worst storm to hit Florida in 100 years. They are urging you, get out. You will die, is the words that is being said by officials in Florida. It is that bad. It is approaching. Huge, huge storm. Do not wait this out. Again, we're going to look at the forecast here in just a moment and show you those lines and where it's dangerous. Get out while you can. I'm sure the roads are packed at this point of people leaving, but be a part of that convoy. Move, step up, board up what you can, and take what you can. We'll be right back as we get into the forecast.
When I was elected to the state Senate 9 years ago, my goal was to bring a new generation of conservative leadership to the Capitol to get things done. I'm Mississippi Supreme Court to do the same thing. I've written legislation to lower taxes and reduce regulations on farmers, manufacturers, and other businesses in Mississippi. On the Supreme Court, I'll use my experience and conservative values to always interpret the law, not to rewrite it or bend the rules for anyone.
When it's time to store something, think Store Local Storage. It's conveniently located next to Northeast Park, and it's gated. On top of that, it's climate control, so no matter the season, it'll protect your things. 24-hour security, a covered loading dock, fire sprinklers, and you can choose the storage unit that suits your needs. From a 5x5 all the way up to a 10x30, you choose the space that you need. Call Store Local Storage today at 601-490-1618, Highway 39 North, Meridian. Across the highways and byways, we say good morning to John Butler joining us from Smith County. Good to see you there. Vicki, good morning. Miss Diane joins us as well. Gene Ulmer, so many of you. We certainly appreciate it. I see Jeff Lewis is joining us as well. Let's get into that forecast now.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Those record highs and record lows, 1,990. It was a warm day. It was 94. We're not going to get anywhere near that today. 81 is the best we should get. Our low of all time on today was set back in 1889 with a record freezing 32 on that day. Woof, that was cold, wasn't it? The outlook for the Mississippi areas, we'll see that Meridian shows us 81 as we go north through Philadelphia. We should stay around 80 and stay that way through Mississippi State. As we get to the Delta, about 80, and we'll hold that steady all the way down to Natchez. A little warmer there in Hattiesburg at 83. We look to Bamaland, we'll see 82 there in Birmingham, 81 in Birmingham, 82 into the Demopolis area, and should see 81 right around Livingston. Over in Auburn, it should be 83 today. As we glance across this, not the day to actually burn. It's dry. Now, it could be worse, yes. Out to our northwest of the Mississippi Delta, they're saying very, very dangerous fire conditions from Cleveland, just north of Vicksburg through Yazoo City, all of that area there through Greenville. Watch it there. Don't let those trailer chains. We had a few of these happen yesterday that were dragged on the interstate that sparked fires along I-20. From Meridian all the way out to Russell, they had little small fires. As we look at our extra 6 to 10 day outlook, we do see that Texas is getting warm, making its way through here, but we're normal right now with that 81 degree weather. Nothing to complain about. Now, our 7-day forecast calls for this: 80 to 81 today, 0% chance of rain in the near future. Look at that. For the next 7 days, it's not even listed. We'll see 84 tomorrow, then drop back to 82 on Thursday. Over the weekend, steady from 81, 82, maybe 84 on Sunday morning when you go to church, and then back to work Monday at 83 with sunshine all these days. Then we take that turn into the 70s. Look at this, a few days of it. By the 15th of October, we drop to 72. Can you imagine what that's going to feel like? A few of you might even want a jacket. A few. I might join you. You know, I'm cold-natured. As we get back to the 20th of August, warming back up to 80, 81, right along in there. The biggest chance of rain we've got for the next 2 weeks, you see that? 9%. I know that I'm upsetting some deer hunters out there that's got a lot of seed in the ground. It ain't cheap, is it? Let's look at that fishing forecast today. As we head out to J&J Auto Sales, our major time it kind of ended about right now. You've got another time coming up this afternoon, right at 5 o'clock until 7 o'clock after dark. A minor time, you can go this afternoon around 1 o'clock, but it is minor. Your better time is right after work toward dark 30. The wind's going to be north around 10 miles an hour today. Not as bad as it could be. We had higher gusts yesterday. Let's talk about deer hunting. Well, your best times to go out and deer hunt today from Wimberley Taxidermy. It looks like a major time is going to be this afternoon, about 4:15. This works perfect if you can get off at 4 o'clock, ease into your stand with your bow. Between there and dark 30, it should be good. Sunrise is coming in just a few moments at 6:53. We're 3 minutes away from that. Sunset will happen at 6:29 this afternoon if you're looking at those calendars, trying to keep all that straight. Now let's go take a look at radar of what we have this morning. We want to make sure that we show you everything that is absolutely possible with all of this as we go back to look at what we have. Now, here's radar. Let's zoom in on what we've got happening. As of this morning, just a little bit ago, the hurricane is now a Cat 4. Again, remember, yesterday it made it to a Cat 5. This morning, the wind speed is 155 miles an hour, gusts of 190 miles an hour. That is strong. Millibars have dropped to 924, moving northeast at 11 miles an hour. Now, later this afternoon, right around 1 o'clock, this will upgrade to a 5 again and go to winds of 161 miles an hour and gust of 196. Now, as we get into tomorrow, it drops to a 4. And don't hold this to be true. This could change a lot in between now and tomorrow. It could go up. It could stay steady at where it is. Right before landfall, and let's look at this. This is going to be a Cat 4, somewhere around 144, 145 miles an hour. Gust of 173 miles an hour slamming into the coast. After it makes landfall, we're expecting this to drop to a 3 pretty quickly. It should be somewhere 127 to 130 miles an hour, 155 to 160 mile an hour gust. Now, whether it's 177 or 167, you think about that slamming in to homes, how bad that's going to be. Look at the reach of this storm, how wide this is. Here's Ocala, here at the coastline. Right there at Crystal River, Florida. This will stretch all the way down to Fort Myers. The eye, what we're expecting. Here's Sarasota. And you'll see here, these are the strands that we're looking at. It's basically honing in somewhere between Tampa to Sarasota, in that if you live right in there, that's expected to be somewhere where the eye will be. It will redefine right now. The center upmost is pointing right here to be at Brenton, Florida. Right around right there. Branton Beach is what we're looking at. That's going to change now. I don't want anybody to go, that's exactly where it is. But it will be somewhere between Tampa and Sarasota. In there is what we're looking at. Look at this. As it comes across the entire state of Florida, when it comes out, it's still going to be a Category 1. 81 miles an hour once it reaches the other side after slamming through building after building and tree. This is going to be horrific. This is one of the biggest storms we've seen, possibly the biggest that Florida has seen in 100 years come across here. Loss of life is expected. And as I've harped on this time and time again, if you've got friends, family, see if you can get them to evacuate. I know that there are those that don't. We don't want you to be a statistic. We'll be right back as we get live for the morning show. We're going live in about 4 minutes from now. We'll be back with the morning show. Again, the sheriff is coming in. Odie is here. We're going to have a good time. We can't do it without you. Join us, won't you, here at the Scotty Ray Report.